problem. The first, I'm going already. So the first four problems are supposed to be, I do air quotes, review, because these are all supposed to be ones that I think came out blurry, but we did on the first quiz on exponents in the first unit about exponents. So this says, oh no, why did they come out so blurry? 1 second about that. All right, so if the base is already the same, what can you do? So I should be able to solve problem 1 because they both have a base of 3, right? So I can say, I know that 6x plus 1 has to be equal to 4x minus 1 by the one-to-one property. If the bases are the same, the exponents must be the same. So this is just an algebra equation now. How do I solve this equation for x? How do I get x's on the same side? Yeah, I personally would x before x first. I like the x's to stay positive, but so I would have 2x plus 1 equals negative 1. What would be my next step to get x by itself? Subtract 1 on both sides. I don't see the problem on, I'm on this problem right here. So once I know the bases are the same, I'm setting my exponents equal. I subtracted 4x, so I have 2x plus 1 equals negative 1. Subtract this 1 to bring it to the other side. So minus 1 both sides. I should have given you more room, I guess. 2x equals negative 2. So x has to equal. Divide by 2. X equals negative 1. I would have had enough room if I didn't have to rewrite the darn problem. So is this hard for you guys? You don't know how to solve like a linear equation? Like 6x plus 1 equals 4x minus 1? Do I need just some practice on solving a linear equation, do you think? You know how to collect x's and get x by itself? Because that's what you need to be able to do for the one-to-one property. So number two, I do not have the same base on both sides. How can I make the same base? They both come from the power family of 2. So I'm going to rewrite this guy as 2 squared. So I have 2x plus 7 equals 2 squared 8x, which is going to become 2x, right? Because when you distribute, you can multiply the exponents. So I'm just going to rewrite it over here. All I really care about is that this x plus 7 is equal to this 2x now by the one-to-one property. Once my bases are the same, I just need to set this exponent equal to this exponent. So what would you do to solve for x? There's an easier way. What happens when you subtract x and move it to the other side? Now you just have x, right? So you've gotten the answer that x is 7, right? 7 plus 7 is 14, and 2 times 7 is also 14. The 2x minus the 1x is 1x, right? This is a coefficient of 1, and this is a coefficient of 1. So the 2 gets subtracted. Number 3 is easier. You already have a base that is e. What does x have to be to make this true? The opposite of x has to equal 3. So x itself would have to be what? What will make this equal this? No. If negative x has to equal 3, what would you do to both sides to solve for x? This is really a negative 1 coefficient, so you're really going to divide both sides of the equation by negative 1, right? Divide by negative 1, so x will equal negative 3. Is that what you meant by divide by negative x? You're not really dividing by x, though, because x is already by itself. All right, number 4. Note to self, I need more room for these problems. So number 4, I don't have the same base on both sides, but 1/2 and 4 both come from the same power family. What power family do they come from? 2. So how am I going to rewrite the 1/2? Yeah, 2 to the negative 1 to the x, because the x is still kind of hanging out. On the other side, how am I going to rewrite 4? 2 squared, and then the x plus 4 is still kind of hanging out. What's my next step? Distributive property of exponents, right? So what is this exponent going to become? Negative 1x, equal to each other, since the base is already 2. What is this exponent going to become with the distributive property? 2x plus 8. Everybody catch how we distribute the 2, the x, and the 4? All right, what would I do next to get the x's collected? I think this is the hard part. I think you guys got the one-to-one property. I think the algebra, solving algebra, minus 2x. What's negative 1x minus another 2x? Negative 3 of those x's. So if I have negative 3x equals 8, what do I do to get my final answer? Divide by negative 3. So x equals negative 8 thirds. So those are like a little bit more challenging problems that I didn't test you on last unit. That was just kind of like the bonus. So now we're going to be practicing this one-to-one property for exponents so that we can actually do problems like that. All right, there is a one-to-one property for logs. And these bases are both a 3 right here, log base 3 of x, log base 3 of 7. What does x have to be to make this true? They both have a base of 3. So that means that whatever is inside this log has got to be equal to whatever's inside this log. So x must be 7 to make that true. And this one says natural log of x minus natural log of 3 equals 0. So what does x have to be to make this true? My first step might be adding this natural log of 3 to the other side. So if I have a natural log on the left and I have a natural log on the right, what do I know about x? X would have to be what for the one-to-one property to work? X would have to be 3. So it's kind of like having the same base up top. Now you have the same log. If you're doing the same log, the stuff inside is the same. So 1 through 6, I didn't need a calculator for. So I just want to show you the last method that you need to learn, solving using logs. And I do it this way, changing it to log form. But some people might say they're taking the log of both sides. I just say I'm changing it into log form. All right, here's my equation. 2 to the x equals 10. Right, that's the one that we were trying to solve. We know 2 to the 8. 2 to the x equals 10, I don't know. But what's 2 to the 4? 16. So I know that my number is going to be 3 plus a little bit of a decimal, like 3.6 or 3.2. How can I figure out the actual answer to this problem? So if you're stuck in exponential world, we're going to convert this into log form. So how do I rewrite this in log form? The base is going to be what? 2. Log base 2 of 10 is going to give me my actual answer. So you're going to type that into your calculator using the math key, and it's going to tell us our answer is 3 point something. So we now have a way to solve the problems involving logs. So the log base 2 of 10, when I type it in under the math key, 3.32. X comes out to be 3.32. Is everybody successful at plugging that in? Does that kind of make sense? I typed that literal thing in under the math key. Under the math key so that you can change the base. Yeah. So that kind of makes sense, right? 3.32 is between 3 and 4. 2 cubed was 8. 2 to the 3.32 is 10. And 2 to the 4th is 16. So it gives us a way of actually computing what x is without guessing and checking. All right, so number 2, it's the same type of problem. We need to convert this into log form. This one is a slight difference. It says x plus 1 up in the exponent. So it's the only thing that's different from the previous problem. So log base 2 of 3, right? The 2 is the base. The 3 comes inside, equals x plus 1 this time. Oops. So what am I going to do to solve this for x? What do I have to do? Yep, I'm just going to type that in, log base 2 of 3, and then I'm going to subtract 1 to the other side. So there's that. I'm just going to subtract 1 from both sides and see what I get. So the log base 2 of 3, and then I subtract 1. Did you get 0.58? You did it correctly if x is 0.58. So I took the log and then I subtracted 1. And I got 0.58. All right, what's different about 3 and 4? So 3 and 4, there's a little something I have to do before I can change it into log form. What do I have to do on example 3 first? Before I change, this says e to the x right here. So e to the x plus 5 equals 60. So my first step is to subtract 5 from both sides. So e to the x equals 55. Now I'm going to change it into log form. So what's the base of my log? The base of my log is going to be e. Log base e, which is the natural log button, of 55 will give me x. You can just use the natural log button on your calculator, or you could change the base and use e. But log base e of 55 is the same as the natural log of 55. So 4.01, does that sound right? So this stands for ln is natural log, so the base is e. So 4.01. What do you think you have to do first on example 4 before you can change form? What do you think you have to do first? And this says 4e to 2x power equals 5, if you can't read what it typed out as. What do you think you have to do before you can change form? Divide by 4 on both sides. E to the 2x equals, you could either leave it as 5/4 or 1.25. So I'm stuck in exponential world. I need to convert it into log world. So what's the base of my log? E of 1.25 is equal to 2x. What would I do as my last step? I'm going to take the natural log of 1.25. Do you understand what I'm saying? That I can take the natural log. So whether you take the log and you change the base to e, or you just use the natural log button, you get the same answer. So to me, it's easier to press the natural log button. So 0.22, but that's equal to 2x, right? So how would I solve for x as my last step? If 0.22 is equal to 2x, what is 1x equal to? Divide by 2 on both sides. X would equal 0.11. All right, you try 5 and 6. I thought you already did that. And on number 6, divide by 3 first. You shouldn't even need a calculator for this one. Number 6 should be no calculator. You can just do it mental math. So take 1 more minute and try those problems. I'll put them up. And then I'm just going to show you how to do it the other direction with logs. What time are we here till? Oh, 54. So if I take, you need like 5 minutes for your game, right, Jaden? What's that? Yeah. Oh, I don't think that. Okay, so I don't think we're doing that as our. That's not our game? No. Okay, well, you can calculate it not in my class. And I don't feel like that is. So I'm going to do these out. So Number 5, log base 4 of 21 equals x plus 7. You're going to type this into your calculator and then just subtract 7 to get the final answer, right? So log, well, how do you know it's right? Log base 4 of 21 is 2.19. I subtract 7. Wait, negative 4.8? Is that what you got? Yeah. Oh, that's right. Oh, well, but you have to add 7, remember? So, did you add 7? Yeah. So do negative 4.8 plus 7 on your calculator. What do you got? Okay, no, so then you 4 raised to that power. That's good though. I'm glad you're checking your answers because that's a really good strategy to make sure you didn't make a mistake. Why is number 6 kind of a no calculator question? When you divide by 3 first, you get 5 to the x equals just 5. So what do you know x has to be? X has to be 1 to make it true. So this would really be no calculator. I didn't even need logs for that, right? Mental math, use the one-to-one property. Okay, so on this entire bottom of the page, you started with exponential and you had to change it to a log. So we're going to reverse that thinking on the other side. We're going to start with a log and we're going to cross out what they wrote here because I'm not going to show you that strategy. I'm showing you a different strategy. Let's see, which ones can't we read? This is a basic 6 over here in number 2. Number 3, that's a base of 3. And then this says minus 5. That's not too bad, okay. This should be a plus sign on number 4. We're going to not do number 6 today. That's kind of a challenge. Negative, we can read this one, right? This should say equals 40. And then this is a base 2 of 9x equals 24. So you can kind of read that, right? Hopefully. Yep. Yep. You guys are killing me with. Your first step is to get the log by itself. So what should I do to get the log by itself? What's the thing I can move to the other side of the equation first? I would subtract 5 from both sides. Oh, shoot. Thanks. Because I was on SmartPass. Okay, subtract 5 from both sides to get the natural log by itself. I'm crossing out this method because I think this is more confusing for you. Exponentiate both sides, I think, is more confusing. All right, so now I've got 2 natural log of x's is equal to negative 1, right? Because I subtracted 5. What's my next step to get the natural log by itself? Divide by 2 on both sides. Natural log of x is equal to negative 1/2. All right, I'm stuck in log world. I need to change this into exponential form. So to change it to exponential form, what is the base of this function? If it's a natural log, the base is e. So I'm going to write a little e in there. And now I'm going to change it into exponential form. So e raised to the negative 1/2 power is going to give me my solution of x. So on your calculator, you're going to use your e button. You're going to raise it to the negative 1/2 power. There's no logs involved in this calculation. I'm just doing e to the negative 1/2 power. What do you get? Yeah, so 0.61. You did it right if you got 0.61. I typed in e to the negative 1/2 on my calculator. So if you start with a log, you're going to end with an exponent. So let's take a look at number 2. What do I have to do first to get this is the log function right here. This whole thing is the log function. I just need to divide by 2 before I start the problem, right? Divide by 2 on both sides. So I have the log base 6 of 3x equals 2. This would be a good no calculator question because what's my next step? Change it into exponential form. What is my exponential form? 6 squared. I know 6 squared in my head. What's 6 squared? All right, and I know that that is divisible by 3. So I know that x is going to come out as an integer that I don't need a calculator for. What does x have to be? What's 36 divided by 3? 12, right? So that one I could do, that would be a good non-calculator problem. I did not need a calculator to solve it, did I? Okay, take a look at number 3. Are you catching on? If you're in exponential, change to a log. If you're in log, change to exponential. What would I do on number 3? So let's circle, oh yeah, hold on. So I'm going to circle the log part. You're right, I don't want to circle the 2. But there's something I should move away first. So see how this x minus 5 is not in a parenthesis? So that means the minus 5 is not part of this log. So I want to scoot the 5 to the other side first. So I have 2 log base 3 of x equals 7. What would I do next? Now is when I could divide by 2. Log base 3 of x equals 3.5. Now I'm going to change it to exponential form. What's the base going to be? 3 to the 3.5 power is going to give me my solution. So 3 raised to the 3.5 power. I got 46.77 if I rounded. Is that what you got? All right, let's do 4, and then you can try the last couple on your own. But why is number 4 different? Just because it's a natural log again. So good reminder of how to set it up. This natural log of x is the only thing that you need to put by itself. So if this is a plus 1, we need to move the plus 1 first. So subtract the 1 to the other side. So you'd have 3 natural log of x's has to equal 4 because I subtracted 1 to the other side. So what would be your next step? Divide by 3. So the natural log of x equals 4/3. What is my base that's hiding? If it's a natural log, the base is e that's hiding there. So how do I rewrite this in exponential form? E to the 4/3 power equals x. I need to just type that into my calculator. E raised to the 4/3 power. So e raised, you could just type it as 4 divided by 3, and it should come out to 3.79. X equals 3.79. All right, so for the interest of time, you have an appropriate game that you're going to do at the end. Okay, the last one that we're going to do, you're going to try number 5. This should say +3 right here. Try number 5 for 1 minute on your own. See if you can get to the correct answer. It says -2 log of x plus 3 equals 7. See if you can solve number 5, and I'm just going to draw a line. We'll do 6, 7, and 8 next time. Number 6 is really just a bonus, but 7 and 8 next time. But these are the skills that you need to do homework. 4-3 was properties, and 4-4 was solving equations like this. And tomorrow you will have an extended flex block because juniors and seniors have a 64-minute flex while freshmen are taking the NEWA. So you should have time. Do you need something? Yeah. So -2 log x equals 4. Divide by -2, log of x equals -2 then. The base is 10, and we know what 10 to the -2nd power is, right? The reciprocal of 10 squared. So 1/100 or 0.01 if you did it on the calculator. So that would be more of like a no calculator question because it's a negative exponent. All right, so we will